What's going on, guys? Back live with another A to Z. Rodzilla in the house with my good friend Oyanga Ali. What's going on, man?
What's up,
Well,
man? Just been chilling. How you been
good,
doing,
good,
Rod?
good. Yeah, I've been doing great, bro. Just doing great. Been looking forward to this conversation and talking with you. We missed last week, maybe the week before too. So it's been a while,
Yeah,
and
it has.
yeah, so just excited to get back into it and see what's new with you. See what's going on in the world, and just discuss today's topics. Hopefully, we can shed some light, inspiration, some funny stories. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes, man. Let's just see how it goes. But I have seen. I didn't get a chance to see the whole video that you did. But you and two other guys. It came up as a short, but it was really short, man. They cut it
Oh,
off, so I didn't hear what you
okay.
was talking about.
Oh
What's
man,
that?
that's gonna be what we call it, the ground up series. So it's been known, and when people come to my gym or even the physical therapist office, because on the video is myself, Chris Olmsted, who's my business partner at Success Fitness, and Matt Hennings of Leading Edge Physical Therapy. We noticed that our clients come in and they, their back hurts, their knee hurts, whatever, but a lot of that stuff stems from the foot or the
Yeah,
ankle or the knee. So we're just doing this series called the Ground Up series. The first part, which the video is talking about, um, mainly is we're just working on the foot, ankle, and knee. And then the second part, we'll go hip. Third part, we'll go shoulder, trunk, and then neck. So just kind of working up the body
yeah,
in a
yeah,
four
yeah.
four part series and educating people on it. So that's what it was about.
Oh man, you got some education here. I got a question for you since you done brought that bad boy up. How come
Sure.
when motherfuckers be busting their hips up when they older and even when they younger, they die like within a year? What's going on with what's all up in that hip area?
Well, the hips don't lie. I mean, Shakira told us that. If you if your if your hips are messed up, your body's messed up. The hips, that area, I mean, man, it's the central part of the body where everything attaches to. So all the muscles and everything attached to the core. The hips being part of that core and central axis of the body, everything stems from there. So if you just think about it from a just an elementary level, if something stems from the center and you mess up that center, you're gonna affect everything else. So the power from the hips and the glutes and all that stuff is essential for being able to get up, being able to stand, being able to squat, being able to lift. And when you lose that functionality, you lose a central part of who you are as a person, and then you start to just kind of fade away.
Mm,
That's kind of like a generic way to kind of say, you messing up the center part of your body, so everything attaches there. And when you mess that up, you're gonna have a cascade of things happening throughout the body that affect longevity. Yeah. So, the studies are out that losing that hip strength and core strength and the ability to be able to stand and get yourself off of a chair and all those things, or being able to squat, which is all predicated upon that hip strength, you're more likely to die of anything. So, super important.
yeah, yeah, man. I noticed that it is super important. And I notice how hard it is and how older people, older than us, but still older people who are having mobility issues,
Hmm.
one of the best exercises, at least in my idea is getting up off the floor,
Yeah.
getting down back on the floor to get back up off the floor. If you can practice that, at least that, because I was talking to my mom. My mom's 77 years old now.
Sure.
She just
Yeah.
had her birthday, so happy birthday, mom. Um,
Happy birthday, mom.
she she uh I in order for me to feel safe, I want to be able to see her be able to get up off the ground. It's like, yeah, if you fall, you're gonna be injured, especially at that age. You might be injured, you might be a little bit sore, but if a person doesn't practice getting up off the ground, which you did say, that is basically hip strength, right?
Yeah.
That core
Yeah, upper
strength.
body too. Yeah. But yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. They be stuck down on the ground. How they gonna, even though their cell phone might be on the table right over there, they gotta be able to roll and crawl over the table. They gotta be able to move and function in a lower area. So yeah, I think it's important for older people just to, if you don't want to pick up no weights, Pick up your body.
Pick up your body weight. Use your body weight, and that's so important, bro. You know, I mean, we already talked to it. You know, and my gym is called Success Fitness. We don't have a lot of machines in there, you know, because my guy Chris and I, we really see the value in teaching people how to use their body.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you carry around with you 24/7. So you really need to know how to use it, how it operates, you know, what's tight on it, what's weak. And it's like doing the maintenance on it in our gym, you know. So, and you know, once you hit the age 65, just that alone, it puts you at risk for falls. That's a high factor for risk for falls of wrist falls, just being the age 65. And then you factor in everything else, medications, like if you're on meds that affect your blood pressure, or you know, your vision is off. All these things put you at risk. So I'm in this program. I don't know if I talked to you about it before. It's called Otago.
Go with it. Otago.
Otago. Yeah. So Otago is a school and university in New Zealand, and they created this program for balance and gait. And it was translated by the University of North Carolina into English here. Go for it.
Okay. Just so you can understand, so we all can understand the word gait. And
okay.
I know what it means,
Sure.
But it's like, go ahead, explain that gait real quick, because balance, we understand.
Balance. So gait is, you know, just walking or ambulation, your ability to be able to walk and stay upright. You know, when you're looking at someone's gait, you're looking at, you know, are their feet too close together? Is their stance too narrow? Are they able to, you know, extend and flex a leg properly to walk and move and be mobile? So it's working on those types of things, someone's balance and their gait, their ability to ambulate and move around. And so we're doing a study out here in Oregon after this was translated into English. We're doing a study here in Oregon to bring this Otago program to a lot of physical therapists and occupational therapists. And I got lucky this time, because usually physical therapists are the ones doing this program, and I'm a personal trainer, so they needed more people in the field. But the crazy thing, man, is we're just seeing so many people who are older out here doing this program. I went to a guy's house. He turned 97 Friday. Wow. 97 Friday, and he's doing these exercises to try to improve his balance. It just goes to show, like, you can start to work on improve at any age. So super important thing to learn. I didn't realize how important it was. You don't think about it when you're in your 20s and 30s too much.
Right. You don't.
When I was working as an EMT in Vegas, you were going to people's houses and picking them up. And like you said, they just get stuck down there.
Yeah. And I noticed that too, being in security, getting a phone call from an older couple and say, hey, my either my aunt had fell, or my husband or my wife has fell. Could you please just come and help me get her up? I'm like, do we need an ambulance? No. We just need to help get up, you know? And that was one of the things that I was, trying to push to my mom. It was like, these people, and they're not necessarily fat and huge. I'm thinking these people are going to be just some huge people, and I'm like, oh, they're not. Oh my gosh. How old are you? I'm like, oh, I'm 72. I'm like, 72, and you can't get off the floor. Okay, that's scary. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that right there is just something that's really, really, I feel is important. Physical health, period, is health. I mean, is important, not just because of the fact that actually there's so many reasons why it's important. It is the fact that you want to live.
It's everything, right? It's literally everything. But most of us we don't think about it like that. But until you lose it, then it's like, oh man.
Yeah, and you said until you lose it. Check this out. I remember when I got my neck fusion from C3 through C7 for when I first got it. I mean, before I got it, I took advantage. I took for granted, there you go, how much flexibility I had in my long ass neck, because I had a long neck, and all the extra movement that I was able to do.
What are you doing with your neck? Hold on.
Huh? What?
You took for granted the flexibility you had in your neck. I'm saying, what were you doing with this neck of yours, bro? You were taking advantage of this flexibility, like tricks or what?
That right there, just that stuff right there that I can't
Okay.
do right now. So like, see, I
Okay.
got this. That's what I got.
As far as you got now? Okay.
That's what I got. You know what I'm saying? Now I can go back, but to go forward, that's all I got. Like that
Okay.
side.
Wow. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like when I got my neck, when I got it fused, I felt like I couldn't breathe because I couldn't move.
Mm, yeah. Man, you froze up for a second. Maybe you'll come back.
Yeah, I'm
What was
back
that?
right
10?
here on my back.
Okay. Yeah, you're back now.
Back. Okay.
You said you felt trapped because you couldn't move?
Yeah, I felt like super claustrophobic when stuff was going on because it was just, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I can't move. Everything's stuck. So a lot of people, like you were saying, we don't think about certain things now. Getting up off the floor. I can get off the floor. What you talking about? I can get off the floor right now.
Right.
But as we get older, we can't. And there's a lot of things that we need to practice
Sure.
that we don't realize that we really need to practice right now.
Absolutely. One of the things, and that brings to the point of why I mentioned the Otago. Why I mentioned it is because because there's a little series of basic tests that you could do. One of them is just seeing if you can get out of your chair without using your hands. Do that 10 times. And you'd be surprised how many people can't even, just get up off the chair with no hands once.
Wow.
And I got to see.
Are you talking about like without? I mean, not like
hands across your chest. Yeah.
Not hands on legs or nothing.
No hands on legs. No hands on chair. Just hands across your shoulder. You can even keep them to your side if you want, but just don't touch anything.
Swing like that? Can you swing?
Are you trying to get a cheat code in? Are you trying to pass the test? Nah, bro. I'm gonna fail you, dog. I'm gonna fail you. Coming with that swing. I'm not having it.
Okay, so no swinging.
No, straight up. You gotta go straight up. I know you do your legs, bro. Come on. Yeah, but you just gotta go straight up. People can't. You'd be surprised how many people can't do that.
And I believe it's also for a whole bunch of different reasons. And one of the reasons I believe people can't do it is because maybe knee pain.
Yeah, knee pain.
Knee pain. Low mobility in their hip flexors.
Yeah, weak glutes,
weak core,
big belly.
Shut up.
I know. Shit. I know. I was looking right in the camera, Ali.
There it is. That's funny.
But yeah, bro, it's wild, man. You think you could do it, Ali? You can stand up 10 times, no hands?
Oh, most definitely. I've done that. That. I do. Actually, I do chair yoga.
Okay, all right. I see you.
I do it, man. Hey, dude. I already know I'm getting old. I'm about to hit 50, dude.
When's the big day?
June 19th, baby.
That's the day. Okay.
Dang. Yeah. It's a little while. It's a little while, but I think I'll be just coming back from Korea for then, so I've been already celebrated pretty much.
Okay. Well, cool, man.
But I'm around a bunch of my supervisor or whatever. I'm a supervisor as well, but the one who's over me is 55 years old. He's fit. He's a real fit dude. And everybody else is so much younger than me. And I'm like watching them move around. Even some of the fat ones be moving around all extra. I'm like, y'all moving too much. Stop moving. And then we had I had two fights that I was in, and I felt like the need because I went back after the last fight. I went back to jiu-jitsu for a little while, and I start realizing I don't have that burst of energy that I used to have, like to be able to sprawl for a long time or scramble and scrape for like real fast and for a long time. Like not so much that my stamina was down, even though it was, but it's just that burst, that initial burst.
Yeah, the power.
I got Okay, if that's what you want to call it, if you want to call it power, but I'm just because I'm strong, but like
Yeah, so
that
it's
quick
definitely
movement
power.
in the beginning.
Sure. So the difference between strength and power, strength is maximal strength. Like I could push 300 pounds. Power is, can you move that 300 pounds rapidly? So you're talking about, can you move your arm, whatever it weighs, rapidly? So your power,
Horsepower.
yeah,
Okay.
that power, bro. So yeah, you lose power. That's one of the things that is important to keep while you're old too. Like, you should try to move fast as you get older. You should be trying to jump as you get older. I heard a lady say the other day, I have to research it. Don't quote me on if it's 100% accurate. She was a doctor,
Okay.
so I guess we can kind of quote her. But she was basically saying that I can't remember her name either. This is a bad quote, but anyway, yeah, we shouldn't be losing much of our athletic ability until around age 70. or at least a lot later in our lives. And you can, even if it's not 70, you could say 45, 50, 60. It shouldn't be 25. You know what I'm saying? We should be
Right.
we should not be losing our athletic ability, and it's part of our lifestyle. And one of the things that makes an athlete great is their power, like their ability to do things explosively and quickly. So it's because we don't train it. We don't run, we don't play, we don't jump, but we should be running, playing, and jumping up in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s to ensure we keep that power. But you can train it.
Okay.
You can retrain
Oh,
it.
you can train it. You can train it.
Yeah, man.
But what if you can't breathe?
Oh, you.
I started
Ooh.
running down the driveway. I'm done.
Oh, you.
Got my inhaler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never ran down my driveway. That's too far.
Oh man. Hey, yeah, you can get it, bro. You can get it. Just start small. Just start small, wherever you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also
Yeah.
there's another reason why people don't keep up with that is just because of the little aches and pains. We try to
Sure. Yeah.
adjust, like first, how some people do when we be working out, we be like, oh my gosh, ooh, my shoulder. Okay, I'm still going to work out, but my shoulder hurts. So let me just do some curls. I'm not going to do my shoulders no more. And then they forget to do the shoulders because they've been working out on the curls. And then they start, oh, my elbow, I can't do my curls no more. I'm just going to do legs, but everybody knows what happens to leg day. People start skipping the leg days because the knees and the ankles and the hips and the hamstrings, and they get cramps. So everybody stops skipping that, and then they're like, "Well, you know what? I'm just going to not work out no more."
I got a question because I wanna hone in on something, but I want to hear from someone who is not a personal trainer or a fitness, because you talk to people about working out in a way that I probably wouldn't. So let's say you're talking to someone on the streets and they're telling you they're gonna start working out.
Yeah,
Or they're gonna tell you like, hey man, yeah, I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna go, do my chest, do my back, And do they start talking to you like that? Like different muscle groups they're gonna work out, or how they kind
well,
of, you get what I'm
it's,
asking?
yeah. No, I get what you're asking because
Like
I
what's kind of
get
like their
that.
general plan about how they're gonna go about it.
Well, I don't. People don't normally. I don't normally get into their general plan. They normally
Okay.
just say how you're like. Mostly, it's like um do you do push pull? Do you do they're asking questions. Should I
Okay.
work out on my legs and my biceps at the same day? Should I do this? Should I do that? How long should I do? Should I go heavy? Should I go light? And how many days a week should I go? And I basically just tell them, hey, I believe you can do whatever the hell it is you want to do, but make sure you do it consistently and do it strongly. Do it with force. Don't lollygag on it. If you feel you can do a little bit more, do more. That's basically what I tell them because if you remember being in the Marine Corps, everything that you learn about push pull, don't work out on your legs every single day. Don't do this. Don't do this. Make sure you do this. Boot camp will bust all that shit up, you know. But you get better at the same time because you're working out on your legs all the time. You're
You mean
always
like
doing
you mean
calisthenics.
like you talking about like when people be worried about time off and rest periods and not training your whole body? Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
or training too much of
Right.
your body, or uh, like you should only how they say you should only do cardio 20 minutes before you do your weight training, or only do cardio after you do your weight training. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. You can do what, this is me not being a professional, but I'm like,
no, let's talk about it. Bring it down for me.
You know, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, you know, because like I said, military people, they're on a totally different schedule than everybody else. Everybody else says, well, you gotta eat all your proteins. You got to be a vegetarian. You got to do this. You got to do that. You have to make sure you PT, or you're not PT, but you work out only 3 days a week. But I'm like, we PT 3 days a week, but we still worked out in between those days.
Sure.
Our regular day was a workout day, you know, especially like lugging around backpacks, or that's what they're called, rucksacks or whatever.
Rucksacks, humping, the gear. You know, I think you make an excellent point, and I think about it sometimes, like even as a quote unquote professional workout trainer, you know, personal trainer with over 2 decades of experience, I think about it sometimes, like sometimes the science gets us, it gets in the way of just common sense.
Right.
Like okay, you can't work out here, you got to do the cardio here. But what if let's say it's 1965, right? And I'm working on a farm and I'm dealing with tractors and animals and I'm lifting hay, and this is hard manual labor.
Yeah.
On Monday, and then I do the same hard manual labor on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And you know what happens? After years of that, I become a big, strong ass person. Right? Not that can move well. Like, so there was no rest periods. There was none of that. It was just hard ass labor every day. So sometimes I think we can take the science and it can hinder us from what is almost possible to accomplish. And we know things are like people accomplish unorthodox things in unorthodox ways all the time.
Right. And
just crazy feats.
And I think because we rely on science so much, we don't realize something that I'll say in my life, and I'm pretty sure other people who was in the military realized, we don't actually know what our body can do until it's forced to do it.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
I remember when we was hiking or humping, whatever, we was doing a night hump. And it was where, you know, at night you're real close to your person in front of you, where they got their rucksack. So you can sit there, you don't have to reach out and touch the rucksack. You can touch the rucksack like this. You're that close. I remember I was so sleepy. We was underneath a canopy, you know, while we I think it was only like a single canopy. It wasn't no triple anything. So you can kind of see the moon as we're walking through. I didn't know I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the trees at? We was on a flight line. And I fell asleep in the middle of a hump through some woods.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And woke up on flat land. And I think that's what woke me up, because I was flat. I was like, what's going on? I don't, you know, I'm not traversing anything. You know, who knew that your body could do that? You've seen people fall asleep standing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I seen it. I don't know if you did. I know I've seen people fall asleep standing up.
Yeah.
I've seen people almost sleeping while they swimming.
Yeah. So I heard someone say once that, like, we don't often think about it, but when you're just driving down the road, when you're driving your car, a lot of times you just completely daydream for miles.
Yeah.
In the car, and you still get to your destination, because I think that we have something inside of us that's like an autopilot that just comes on and just takes over the body, but it's not conscious. I think we could consciously do that too if you train how to do it, but it just takes over and does things all the time. We don't really stop and think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
haven't you
man.
done that in your car? You're like 8 miles later, like holy shit, and then you just kind of come to and start thinking about, okay, now I'm consciously driving, but the last 5 miles I wasn't for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I did that when I was in Worcester. I was coming from Columbus. Well, yeah, coming from Columbus, driving to Worcester, going towards Cleveland, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there driving, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I blinked, and I'm looking, and it says Cleveland. I'm like, oh snap. Because I remember I was like, I got 15 minutes to make my turn right to Worcester. And then I seen the sign Cleveland. I was driving sleep for about 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
I woke up, I was like, oh, I got to turn around. I had to do a U-turn, go back about 8 minutes to make now make a left. So yeah, that happens. That
All the
happened. I
time.
was scared. I was scared after that. I was driving like both hands. You know, oh my
Hey
God,
man,
windows roll down, music up.
yes, I think it talks to two things. One, that our bodies can do stuff that we don't think about, and two, it says that there's kind of like an autopilot that if you're not conscious, that you just like there's kind of a flow of life that's kind of happening, and you're kind of moving along, whether you really like are conscious of it or not, so to speak. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh
Like you're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
just moving. Yeah. So yeah, I think it talks to both of those things, man.
Hey,
Yo,
let,
go.
let me push
I
something over real quick because this was on my mind. I was a little bit irritated, but it was just me being irritated at my own thoughts. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
but it went to the I think we touched on this one other time, but it went to the problems of Black America and why we fell. You know what I mean? Why we fell from the very beginning, and it was because we never had security. If you understand what I'm talking about, when you think about back right before slavery, right? I mean, during slavery, we had a mindset of servitude. We had a few people like Nat Turner that would go out and be security, go out and kill the masters and all this other stuff, right? And he got smashed. But then he ended up. We were still slaves, right? So when we got our freedom during right before the Reconstruction period, we got our freedom. We started building, but they was able to destroy us by going into the houses and burning them, uh, drowning, grabbing kids, throwing them in the water, and doing all that other stuff because we weren't fighters as a whole, right? So now you got the Reconstruction period. You got all these Black people have their buildings built up, have their communities, a lot of wealth, Black Wall Street, and everything. But then you got still now a bigger form of the Ku Klux Klan coming down, or actually the Klan coming down, running in people's churches, killing them, blowing up people's houses, blowing up dams. Really, not too much you can do with a dam. All this water coming to drought to mess up a city or a community or whatever. You got people dropping bombs from the air. All that stuff right now is stuff that you can't do right now because, like, even back then, there weren't people to stand up and fight. Right? There weren't people really standing up and fight because when we did send people out for World War II and all these other wars, those people came back. A lot of them said they had some kind of PTSD. It wasn't PTSD, it was shell shock then. So they had to put them in different homes and in prison because they were willing to fight. They didn't tasted blood. They're like, okay, I ain't afraid of y'all motherfuckers. You ain't coming to my house no more. Bah, 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 bah. And shoot them. So let's take these people out because we need to control them because they will be the security. But now I'm saying, like, if Black people wanted to build a community, that can't happen anymore because there's so many Black people in the service. So there's not going to be people flying around dropping bombs on communities anymore. Just like you saw if you saw it like a month or two ago, the Ku Klux Klan rose up again Like they never been gone. They was never gone, but they rose up in Ohio, and the black people went and stood against them and pushed them out. So that part ain't going to happen anymore. But the problem with everything was there was no security. And when I'm talking about security, I'm not talking about policing, because police officers aren't really security. When you think about it on a big scale, we have police in our communities. We don't have military in our communities. Military is security. Now, this is going to be real. This is going to be touchy, and you may disagree with me on this one. You might disagree with me on this one, but hey, so
all right, we'll see.
you know what I
So
mean?
be-
So when it comes to security, I'm talking about like, okay, check this out. There's a place for everybody, and there's a time for everybody. When I didn't already mention military, but like say you have let's see, say you have a police officer coming to a neighborhood, and they're like, oh, we're gonna beat up this old Mexican lady or this old black lady, or we're gonna beat up all these uh little 14, 15-year-olds, because they do that, right? Put them in handcuffs, accidentally shoot them, right? They accidentally do that. But then you got people like King Von. He's dead now, but you have people like King Von. There's a bunch of those people. Hey, you King Von, instead of killing all the black people, go over there and do security. You know what I mean? Do the military type security. That dude came over to your neighborhood, beat up your people. Stop beating up your people and go handle that. That would stop a lot of the violence inside of the community. Like, hey, because there are repercussions now. You know what I mean? So the problem with, I think, what a lot of people are thinking is the black community isn't self-sufficient because we don't have a lot of intelligence. We don't have this or whatever, for whatever reason. We can't beat the government. We can't do that. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, you don't really need the government for this. All we have to do is stand together, right? As a community, just stand together, spend your money with each other, do whatever. But we can't think about and be afraid of standing up for ourselves. You know what I mean? You can stand up for yourself with your mouth, but there's people who don't talk. King Von wasn't a talker. He was a more person like a doer, right? Of that type. Me personally, I'm not going to walk around marching. I'm not saying what I'm going to do, but I know I'm not doing that because I haven't done it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
there's different levels, and the level that black communities have been missing is the level of, I mean, the thing is security. We can have policing. Policing don't do security. We don't send police officers over to Iraq because police officers aren't trying to, I mean, they're trying to arrest people and keep the peace. You send security over to Iraq because security is going to kill people, you know, and people think of security only as, they think of security only as people who you see top flight. You know, you walking around the mall, you doing like not you personally, but me walking around the hotels, and this is all I'm supposed to do. Yeah, that's all I'm supposed to do in that capacity. You know what I mean? But if I'm really doing security is actually a military force. We're not policing.
So what you were saying is that you got upset with your thoughts. This was the black community is their downfall. Like kind of they need to get together and get some security. Is that kind of your point?
Yeah, in the sense, because people want to be pacifists in the most for the most part. They think they think of pacifists. That's why they think the police people are the best. Police people are supposed to be there to protect the community. Police aren't there to protect the community. Police are there to protect the law. The laws. That's all they're there to do.
They uphold the laws. Yeah, for sure.
That's it. Then if the law is there, if the law doesn't say this person is doing something wrong, then the police have no jurisdiction. They can't do anything. You know.
Yeah. unless you break a law. And then
unless you
they
break.
can do right. And then
Right.
and then their goal then is not even to protect you. It's the law that they're protecting and making sure the law is preserved.
Exactly. And
For
then
sure.
when it gets to a point, to where they're like, okay, the law has been broken. Now you're taking hostages. Guess what? My job as a police officer is. My job as a police officer is to hold everybody back. I'm going to keep the peace at this line. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in the police officers' security force, which is what? SWAT. That's their security force. Go in and go save these hostages. Your job is going to be to kill people if need be. That's not my job. I'm a police officer. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying there's like and now the police force, when you look at it and you're looking at SWAT, again, SWAT aren't regular police officers. They're
Right.
the
They're
security
highly
force.
trained. They'll
Secu-
step up. Yes. It's a
yeah,
different
there's
level, no doubt.
exactly. So it's different than I just
It's like you say, if they send in the Marines and then they send in the recon Marines, that's a different animal.
exactly.
That's a different animal there.
100%. Like they send in the Marines, okay, we're doing this, but now we need a little bit more strength.
We gotta up it a little bit. Yeah, let's send
Yeah,
the big dogs in.
yeah.
And
So
they're coming in with one mission.
to kill everything that needs to be killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And then
or I mean, like
yeah.
they do have intel, like like we can come in, we can sneak and get this stuff, but their main purpose is to kill people.
Yeah, strategically. Yes. Yeah, so I mean I guess I'm trying to figure out the point. So the communities here in America, the black communities as you see them, need to get some type of support and see themselves as a force to be reckoned with, in a sense, when they can come together and kind of take care of their own communities and secure their own communities. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well,
Well, you got to drive it home for me, Ali. Come on, man.
Well, I'm trying, man. It's just that I just see that. I mean,
Okay.
you're right. You're right about what you're saying. I just see that it's
Well, I just want to make sure I'm getting your point right. Because first you said I was going to disagree with it. I don't really disagree with it in terms of what you said.
Okay, well, okay. As far as that way, cool. I'm glad you don't. But I'm saying the part that I thought you was going to disagree with is the using the gangsters, the people who we consider criminals, as the security force.
You know, I don't disagree with it only because it's more of a positive use of the energy. You know, whether they are actually engaged in actually having to defend, because this is what security is there in case. It doesn't mean that, in this case, I don't think you're saying they're actively going out and trying to drum up tension and stuff, but they're there to secure and protect the community. I think that's a much more positive use of the energy. So I can't really make an argument with that. And who can argue against someone using self-defense? So
well, okay, yeah, but I'm talking a little bit further.
Okay,
you got self-defenses when you're being attacked, like right now.
Sure.
Somebody's trying to smack you, so I'm going to defend against that. I'm talking about a self-defense as far as, okay, you didn't smack me and ran away. I'm coming to get you.
Okay.
That part of self-defense. You ain't never coming back over here to smack me again. Type of self-defense. And everybody that's in your group that seen you come smack me, they're going to know that you just can't come over here and smack me.
Now, I think
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I see. That's a whole different animal.
That's
a whole different animal. Yeah. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. I think that if that's the way they want to operate, if a group wants to operate in that way, I think they should like formally come together so that it could be a united front, because I think then it's deemed as more of a legitimate thing, more rather than just, how they always say on the movies, you got a vigilante out here doing some shit. You got a
Yeah, but
vigilante
you
out
know
here. We
what?
don't want to be that. You don't want that perception. But if you got like, hey, these groups, this group is for real. They're coming out here and they're coming to our territory. With a real united front in that way, I think that could be positive.
I don't think. See, and that's the part that's different, because it's not
Sure.
that part. I don't see. I mean, I see it as a good thing. I don't see it as being accepted because of the fact that everybody puts police higher than the situation. They're not thinking of a community that is like a government. The United States government, if you have a problem, like they already do the policing on the inside. We do policing here. But if somebody comes over here and blows up, just say hypothetically, somebody blows up 2 buildings, right? They use something and they blow up 2 buildings, like maybe an airplane. And then the government says, okay, well, since you blew up our airplanes, since you blew up our buildings, we're going to send our security over there to fuck y'all up. And the leader who did this, supposedly, right?
Sure.
That's what
we've done. That's what they've done. The U.S.
right.
government.
That's a government, and that's what I'm saying. If what people will disagree with, because if a community did that, a community inside America did that, said, okay, you came over here and you beat up these little kids. Now we're going to send somebody over there to beat you up. And if your family happen to be around, we're going to beat them up too. You can't put that in, hey, this is what this group does, because you know what's going to happen tomorrow? The United States government is going to jump in and say, okay, here, bro, kill all y'all motherfuckers in that group. And then we're going to send the leader to prison, and we're going to let it be known, you don't do none of that in this community. But they can
right,
do
absolutely.
That
so you're saying that these communities need something more like that then. And I that's why I say I kind of agree with that idea. But what the US government has also done has created the infrastructure, the propaganda, the media coverage, and all of these things to sell the war machine, which then gives them the power and the right in the eyes of the people to make it a legitimate thing that they're doing. So they've legitimized, if that's a word, all of those actions, and then have it propped up through the social structure and have it reinforced through the people, and everyone has kind of pledged allegiance to it in a sense who lives here, so everyone's on board. So, and that's why it works. So I think for this same thing in the community, you're going to have to drum up some propaganda, some media, like get the people on board and have a real united front, so that now this becomes a legitimized front that can go into this other community and then not get the backlash. Because I think if you don't do it that way, now it's going to be someone acting rogue, someone just deemed a terrorist act. You know how they do it.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, you're a terrorist now, you're just going into neighborhoods and terrorizing them, particularly if you're talking about a quote unquote black group going into a white community and doing something like that, or a Chinese
or
community,
or
a mixed community, or any community. I think anybody doing that is going to be, it's not going to be perceived well in the court of public opinion unless you do it in a more united front.
Right. I dig it. Now, check this out. What if it was like one of those situations? Now, this is with what you're saying. Add what you're saying into this situation, and do you think it would work? All right. Remember that it was a guy. Say it was a guy. No. Remember the guy? It happened many times, so you can pick whichever guy that fits this situation for you. The guy was wrongfully accused of something. They put him in handcuffs, and he's like, no, it wasn't me, whatever. He tries to run away. The police, he's in handcuffs running away. Pop, 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 and shoot him and kill him, right? Right? That same cop does something similar to another person. Don't kill him, but plants drugs on him. right? So now it's made public through social media. Then you got these people in that same community who live in that same community, like, okay, look, this is what happened. This people, ooh, how about that one that killed the little boy, Trayvon Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yeah.
It's like we know they do kill them, and they try to use the media machine to say that it was self-defense, and they found out it wasn't. What if they sent somebody to go get him? You know, they used all of that. How would the rest of the community feel it? They would. I don't think that they would feel that it was a good thing. They would be like, oh my gosh, now you're taking the law into your own hands, and it's the whole community that agrees with this. Over time, maybe it would I think it would be strong. But I think in the beginning of something like that should have been not so much a group, you know what I mean? Not a group,
Sure.
but somebody should have just went on and said, okay, boom, we're just gonna go beat this dude up. Or we're gonna go do something to handle this person. Now it's in the past. I'm not saying go get this guy. I'm not saying anything violent like that.
Yeah, this is a hypothetical situation. Like what? Like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I certainly hear you on that, and I think too. Let's say that happened in the community that Trayvon grew up in had this type of organization that you're talking about,
right?
Like the security force. You know, I think had they been like a united front, like we were saying, I think it'd be better perceived for them to go out and do something like that. Because I think if the powers that be, the government officials, see that this is, let's say they botch the case, the potential what do you call it? The criminal in this case, the guy who shot Trayvon, he's found not guilty. I think if that organization is in place, like you said, now the police and the judicial system has a force to reckon with and say, hey, if we don't do a great job of prosecuting this case thoroughly and looking at the evidence as presented, and we try to fudge it, we're going to have a problem with this organization that's united here in this community, that's ready to do something. I think that has more weight. However, you know, we've seen in the past with organic organizations that sprout up in America, what has happened to those? You know, generally they get infiltrated, they kill them. So that's also the other issue you have to deal with when you try to be united, because, you know, was it COINTELPRO? I think it was called, the organization where they infiltrated all of the, you know, the Black Panther groups and the all of those groups back in the day. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Bloods.
So that's also an issue. Yeah. So that's kind of the other side of it. Like, man, can you even create an organization that could stay tight knit for a long period of time? You know, so I don't know. Remains to be seen, man. Something to think about.
The only group that I know that has done that and remained tight grip are an unarmed group. That unarmed group is the FOI. They actually are a paramilitary group. You know, you know the FOI, right?
I don't.
The Fruit of Islam.
You gotta break it down. Fruit of Islam.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Nation of Islam's paramilitary group is the Fruit of Islam. They don't use guns, so you can't come after them that way. You know what I mean?
Okay. So what do they use? Self-defense, hand-to-hand tactics type of thing, or?
Right. So that keeps them safe, but it only keeps them safe. It doesn't keep the rest of the, you know, community safe. You know, it doesn't stop. Excuse me. It doesn't stop people in other communities or people in other cities, people in other areas from messing with regular people who are outside of the nation. You see what I mean? It's like, in order, if you want this protection, you have to be part of the nation, because the nation doesn't seem, I'm not saying they don't, because there's stuff that I don't know, because I'm not a member of the nation. You know what I mean? But I don't see, and I don't know of any times where the nation has came out and protected people outside, other than being paid for bodyguarding,
Sure.
protected people outside of that community, but I still think that there should be a group that is a group that will say, okay, y'all can't just be going in here doing this. And it doesn't matter whether it's I just think it's anybody. And I hate to say that it would look like a gang thing instead of a community thing. They would change it to a gang.
For sure. Without question.
Yeah,
without question, man. And that's why, like, I think you have to almost formally come out with like a real organization so that it doesn't get confused with a gang or a terrorist group like that. And it's got to be a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a real legitimate thing in order to get some credibility. Because otherwise, without the media behind it, they're going to make it fit their narrative, whatever that may be at the time.
Yeah.
And that's just what you deal with when you don't have control over the media.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I mean, I personally, I don't know. I don't live in a quote unquote black community. So it's hard to say what the black community needs in a sense of on the ground, other than what I can hear.
Right. I dig it. It's more like an educational sure. front for what we hear and don't see, because we don't see what's actually going on in Chicago and how bad they say it is, or in what's that place where Nelly's from? Not Illinois.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. All those people where they like all the killers and stuff are. So
when I was in Chicago last summer, it's wild there, bro. It's wild there, man. I had PTSD for a week for like driving in Chicago.
Really?
And just it's crazy, man. As soon as we got out the freeway, Ali, on the way to the Airbnb, you look over to the right, that person's shooting up. You look over here, this person got a teardrop tattoo. You look, Jamie and Jared like trying to lock the doors. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, and that's what it was. That's what it was for a week in Chicago, just everywhere, crazy.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it. We don't live in. Let me correct myself. That's the different part about it. We don't live in those communities. Thank God I don't live in that community. You know what I mean? Because like there's so many different communities. Like whether you grew up in or you've seen when you was younger, but now at this point, I don't live in that community. I wouldn't function in that community. If it came to a point to where I had to live in that community, I would leave. You know what I mean? Because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to having to look around look over my shoulder to make sure I'm safe. Even though I'm security and I do still look over my shoulder, but I don't have any, anything spooked, like, oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? What is he doing? And I guess they don't neither, because they're already in that lifestyle to where they are looking at, what is he doing? Do I got to pull my gun? Do I got to do this? Whatever. I'm not trying to live like that. I'm not trying to live like that at all.
Yeah, it's different, man. It's different.
Yeah, like I can't wear blue shoes. I can't wear no red shoes. I like these pants, but I can't wear them outside because they got a red stripe on them. You know what I mean? Dude, I can't go nowhere. That shit is tough. You know, now I got to walk
Sure.
around sporting the LGBT flag because I like colors. You can't get me confused with no gang member because I got my fag clothes on. You know what I mean? All right, I'm not allowed to say that. Excuse me.
No, you're not, sir. No, you are not.
My apologies. My apologies, fags out there.
Oh man. Yeah, man. I guess that's what it is, bro. It's a wild world out there. Colors, bro. That's an interesting thing, like the red and blue. We see those colors everywhere: red and blue, red and blue. Polar opposites.
I just got a text. I can't say fags.
Who texts you that?
My family. They can hear me.
Oh yeah, you cannot say that word, Ali.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man. Hey, I don't know where we were.
We were talking about colors, red and blue.
Oh yeah, man, colors. I mean, they put that stuff in our face, you know, kind of divide us, keep us divided. Yeah, our community is divided. Is that what you're seeing? Is that why you mentioned that topic in the first place? You're hearing a lot of division, or a lot of safety issues going on in the community.
Well, I was just thinking about, because we're building a community. The Alhambra group is building a community, just like Red Springs and a couple of other communities, and I'm just trying to figure out how and what was missing in the past. And in the past, the thing that was missing was the Nat Turners. You know what I mean? Nat Turner was only one. There was Nat Turner and the Geechee and the Gullah tribes, but they weren't everywhere. And those tribal people was just there to protect their own tribe, and they was stopping people from coming in. They were real clandestine groups. You can't just come in here. They didn't care if you was a black person, another black person. You can't come here. We're not protecting you. So you go get away. And I don't believe and feel that black people need to be tribal like that. I think black people need to be, at least here in America, we just need to be, okay, we're Americans. We are all Americans. We're black. We should be one big unit of connectivity. Remember like a long time ago when we had the Freaknik and everybody was going down to the Freaknik, you had all the different gangs going down there. There was some fights, but it was still a nice thing, supposedly. But then you had a lot of black leaders going down there to speak and talk to each other. And then black corporations and businesses down there speaking and making deals. I mean, I know they can do that now over the internet as well, but I think, and you already know how I feel. I think that if people have a right, there should be people who have a right to be separatists, and there should be people that have the right to be to mix. If you don't want to be around any other race but your own, you should be able to build a community for your own. If you want to mix, you should be able to mix. And I'm talking about even without saying, or without the stigma of the Ku Klux Klan, the skinheads, the alt-right, the Black Panthers, the Bloods, the Crips. You know what I mean? Because like even for the most part, the Ku Klux Klan and the skinheads, they don't really agree too much with each other. They're not going to sit there and openly fight when there's black people around against each other. Okay, well, we got the same goal over here. Let's kill these niggas, and then we'll get back to what we're trying to do. Right? So I just but I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong with people separating. maybe on a larger grand scale, it's people being tribal and tribing up. But as long as we have laws, we can separate those tribes, just like Saddam Hussein did with the Sunni and the Shiites. His law was right down the middle and gave the Sunni their land, gave the Shiites their land, and the Kurds their land way up there. You know what I mean? He separated them with the Ba'ath Party, and they didn't mix. But the people who wanted to mix were able to mix within the Ba'ath Party. You see what I mean? And there was fighting, and Saddam Hussein did what he was supposed to do because he was the king. Y'all gonna fight? I'll kill your whole community. Your whole community happens to be your whole family. So y'all need to correct yourselves amongst yourself. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah, I hear you, bro. I mean,
you don't agree with it. Let's hear this disagreement.
It's not really a disagreement. It's just, I hear you with the groups can be separate, but the truth is, and this is the truth. The truth is that everything is already connected. Like, that's the real truth.
Right.
But we see it as separate. So, I mean, I think we can play the games of separation and these groups and that group, but the real reality is everything is already connected, and we just playing this game of division here. And I don't know. I just think I don't think you'll ever have like full unity, or like what do you call it? Peace in division, or wholeness, or what do you call it? I guess. What's that word they use? Like a utopia or a heaven out of division. Like, I don't think you can create that out of continuing to divide. Is my point.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you right there.
Go for it.
I mean, and the reason why I'm saying it is this: you can have a cell and another cell. You have millions of cells, not individual people, but you can have millions of cells, and these cells are going to remain divided, but they still have their connection because their connection is this of the body, right? Now you can have, this is what I believe. This is my belief. So
sure,
you can have a group of Asians. You can have a whole community of Blacks. You can have a whole community of whites that don't really particularly want to blend, but what they produce. What this community is producing, what this community is producing, what that community is producing, they're all producing something that they all can use. You know what I mean? So that's where the connection comes in. The production, as long as these cells are producing, the body is okay. These cells are never going to fight because what they're producing is keeping them together. Now, this cell might not be producing anything. If this cell doesn't produce anything, what does it do? It dies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. If you have a Black community, a white community, or whatever community, and it's producing, whatever is producing gets mixed up in this other area. That's where all the mixed races are. Right?
Wait, No, that's a good analogy, but using your same analogy, the thing that like the cells are producing their own fruits, so to speak, but there's an overarching theme that we're all working together for the body, like this one body. Whereas these groups that you're talking about that are separatists, I'm not sure you're gonna get a skinhead group to communicate with the Black people on a level that allows them to interact like that, where they work for the whole body. And is that what you're not saying? Is that not what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, because we still need the people who are willing to mix. You know what I mean? You need those people that are willing to mix. You need those people that are still separate so that they can put forth more people that are willing to mix. You know what I mean? So these people over here, it doesn't matter what you want to call them, whatever race it is, your race, their race, whatever. People right here are building something. They have an idea. They're focused on whatever it is they're doing. They're putting forth that production. These mixed people are the ones who are communicating. Okay, I can't communicate with this cell, but I can communicate with this mixed group who can communicate with that cell that can get that product to bring over here to the mixed group, so I can use it to hand it over here to this group. You know, and if I can't get through that group, I can get with this other group that can go grab the product from that cell. You know, and this cell doesn't mind because it's still producing and it's getting its goods back. It's getting its nutrients back. You know what I mean? From whatever, because they're all still producing for the same body. But there's like, you see what I'm saying?
No, I get no. I get what you're saying for sure.
I'm not saying keep the whole world totally separate. I don't believe in that. I do not believe in that. I do believe that there should be, because we have a head. Our head isn't in our foot. We're not freaking built like balls. You know what I mean? We're not round, all like an eye here, eye, mouth, feet, and everything connected on one single ball. We have a limb. This limb is independent of this limb. You see what I mean? But
sure.
They work together. And the only reason why they work together is because you got the mixed part right here. You know, this stuff in here is producing stuff that reaches everything, the head, everything. It's a whole body. It's a whole network of different things that have different ideas that are doing different things, working for the same goal. It's a body. It's a body. I don't want my hand to be with this hand. They can come mingle every now and again, but they don't need to. They don't ever need to. And they're still going to work.
Yeah, that makes sense, Ali.
And I just think that we're all connected. Exactly. I think we're all connected, but we all don't need. It's not necessary. It's not necessary for us to all mix. We don't have to. We can produce different things, because America, like, okay, we're just talking about America. There's stuff that is in America that's not in Africa. There's stuff that's in Africa that's not in China. You know what I mean? But when you get them together, or if I need something if I need a koala, or I can go to Australia and grab a koala and bring it over here to America, put it in the zoo, give it the proper habitat. So now I got it. It's a good that Australia produces. I need me a panda. I can do the same thing. You know what I mean? It's a good that area produces. I need some bamboo. We don't necessarily grow bamboo here. It's not a product of America, but we can go get bamboo and bring it over here because we like it.
No doubt.
You see, that's all. That's all I'm saying. I think that we are taking the mix to the extreme when we think that everybody has to mix. I think that is an extreme thought. You know, that's one end of the extreme thought of everybody has to be connected, so everybody has to be mixed. And if you don't want to mix, you're racist.
Right. And I'm talking about too, like we're all connected, like beyond just our physical bodies, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's like you say, a pipe dream to think we're all gonna physically get connected on this plane. That's impossible. That'll never happen. It can't happen. Probably won't happen. But the truth behind all that is that we are all connected. But whether you choose to see it that way is totally up to you.
Right.
Or not. Like, maybe you see it that way, maybe you don't. And like you said, you don't have to see it that way. And that's totally fine too. But that's the truth that we'll all enter into at some point.
Right.
Whether we choose to see it here or not.
But see, and again, like I said, I believe that
Yeah,
we're all connected. We're all
no doubt.
connected. And you like some people say we're connected through all the same energy because we're all created from atoms. All the atoms came from the Big Bang, right? Some people say we're created by the same God, no matter what you want to call him, Yahweh, you want to call him Muhammad, you want to call him Buddha, whatever. It's still all the same God. Call him what you want to. It's all the same God. We're all connected through the massive creator, right? I believe we're all connected spiritually in that fashion. I believe it, but I also believe when we were created in that fashion, we're all connected. The way we got put, we all didn't get put in the same body. We
Right.
all got put in separate bodies. So being separate in some form is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue against that. I mean, that's the way it is. That's what makes it go around.
Yeah. Because
Which
when women get pregnant, right? When men become one with woman, they come one. They're together. They're connected through the penis and the vagina, right? That's one being right there. And then they put another being inside of the female. The female actually separates from that other being by releasing it.
no doubt. Yeah, it's a series
Separation.
of coming together and then separating again. If you just think about it,
Yep.
it's this constant interaction of coming together and separating.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. No
so
doubt.
that's what I'm saying. Separation is not a bad thing. Coming together as one is not a bad thing. There's a middle ground. There's a middle ground, and I really feel that because there's two things: separation and middle ground. I mean, separation and mix. The middle ground is hard to see because mixing seems like the middle ground between separation because we put something else on this side to prove separation. You know what I mean? You put blacks and whites or Mexicans and Asian for mix, right? You take this away and just leave separate and mix. What's the middle ground? What is it?
Yeah.
We don't even think about that. There's a middle ground between separation and mix.
That's an excellent point that you make because everything in our reality here is set up to polarize, right? And when you look at poles, that's just two opposite ends. They only try to give you two vantage points or two viewpoints: Republican, Democrat, good, bad. But there's always a middle ground in everything, like you said. Even those colors, red and blue, we were talking about a little bit earlier. Those are just two polar opposites, yin and yang, black and white. And it's always that third point. The truth is always somewhere in the middle, they say. But being able to see things from the middle viewpoint is the more mature, higher consciousness level of view. And that's not where most of us are. And which is why it makes it difficult to see from the middle ground, because we've been polarized to see it dualistically.
Right.
Versus versus a triune fashion, which is, we know how things are created from a triune, the Trinity, threes, you get that, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, the mother and child, like from ancient Egyptian. So yeah, so it's just that it's challenging to see it from that viewpoint, but that's what the truth is, I think.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to sit here and think about that, because when you do add separation and mixing, just separating and mixing, if you keep just those two and stop putting, like, if you don't put race on there, because you say in order to understand separation, you have to add separation from what? Black separating from white, or clothes, black dark clothes separating from light clothes, or color clothes, or instead of the mixing part. Mixing is actually the polar opposite of separation. What is in the middle of there? Can you think? Like literally, can you conceive what's in the middle of separation and mixing?
Separating
and mixing. Because
there is no middle between those two.
Yes, there is. There's got to be, because there's the middle between separating
Oh, you mean being totally separate and then being totally mixed together on one end? Totally separate on and completely divided on one end, then totally mixed together on the other end? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There is a middle. There's a middle ground. There's a median between that. Okay. The way we view separation of people, right? The way we view separation of people is between race. Now, there's no real middle ground between male and female, right? I don't think so, unless you go hermaphrodite.
But okay.
Right? But there is a middle ground between male and female, and that's hermaphrodite, because that's born naturally, right? So, but people always say there's a middle ground between separation and separation. The middle ground between separation and separation, blacks and whites, is mixed. But if you can put your mind to thinking, mix, what's the middle ground between mixing and separation? I'm going to be stuck on this for a minute, because we don't think about that. And the reason why I know that there's that way of thinking is because there was a lady or a guy. You probably seen this. This was about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. There was a guy who had a prosthetic hand, right? And when we turn stuff, right, our brains are thinking, okay, I need to take this off. We got to turn it this way. Our hands go like this, right? That's how our hands turn to take it off.
Okay.
And to put it on, we do that. Because he had a prosthetic hand, his thought went here, and his whole hand spun around one way. It didn't have to go like this to come off. It went like this and just spun around, just kept on spinning. And he said once he got that prosthetic, his brain opened up to a whole bunch of different ways that things can be done, because that was something new to him. We need to open our brains up, because I think they had successfully took that idea away from us. The middle ground between separating and mix. Because
go for it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you're right, and that's what I was hitting on earlier, is that this whole design that we're here is just for us to see it only as separate, or the two poles. That's what this reality is about. But the third part, which is the higher level, then you see everything is really, like you say, connected. And yeah, that's that, because when you see it that way, that's the view of the God view, right?
It could be.
It's the God view, and that's what they don't want you to see, is have the God view where everything is unified. Because now it's like, if you're polarized, you only have access to part of yourself. But then when you realize you're everything, all of it, then you have access to all of yourself. And that's when you can create, because now when you have access to both your masculine and feminine, which we already said, when those two come together, that's how you create. But if you're only polarized to one side of yourself, or one side of the brain, or one side of the consciousness, then you're only a half being. That's why in the esoteric stuff, it says to become healed, or which is also the same word as whole, It's bringing it all together, that it's all united from a consciousness level. It's all united. So not that you're going to unite physically, but yeah, you're right. That's been kind of the pimp game, is to keep the mind divided, that is really separate, but it's not.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to
that's
think
part
about that some more.
About the middle point.
Yeah, the middle point between mixed and separate. There's something. I feel there's something deeper in there. And you said the God thing. It's the God mind, the God thoughts, the God process. So it's going to take some prayer and meditation to figure that out, because we didn't figure that out here. I mean, I know you said that it's a connection. There's the connection, but what is that feeling? What is that? What is that? What is it like being in the middle? At least the thoughts, what thought process changes if we're in the middle of separation and mixing?
You mean how will you view the world differently? How do you act differently? How do you become different? Versus
how exactly, how do we create differently, instead of thinking the only thing between separation is mixing? The only thing between separation can't be mixing, because mixing is the polar opposite of separation.
it's like, I think it's like the mixing part is hard to see because it's an operational type of thing. Like here, you know how we talked about once that God is a generational being. It operates through everything, and it also has the power to destruct something. So if you think something leads from the all, that would be the generational point where it generates from. And then immediately as that happens, it's almost timeless. Like immediate, like from something coming from everything, then boom, it separates. It's instantaneously starting the mixing process. And that is a process that evolves on listen, hear me
Go ahead.
out.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, like, let's say we have everything here, and as soon as it starts to separate, immediately it becomes the process of mixing. So the mixing is not a static point. It's an operational point that continues to mix consistently over and over. And you can see that as like something cyclical. So rain comes down from the ground and it goes into the ground and it evaporates up, and then it comes back down. And that's the process of recycling, or how you create infinity. So the mixing part is that, and that would be God operating through that. And then as you continue on, the destructive part would be when it's completely separated, where it's kind of annihilation, where everything is completely separated. That would be the third component. So everything, the mixing process is it's not static. But as you continue that mixing or that continuous separation, it goes until it becomes obliterated and nothingness again, and then the process starts over. So everything works through a cyclical pattern like that. Go for it.
Okay, so what if you switch that around? What you said, you got everything like this. This is the whole, right?
Sure.
And then it boom goes that way. What if like this is the mixed? Everything is right here, already mixed up. And then it separates into planets, universes. Then all those are separate. Before those were separate, it was all mixed into this. What if it was mixed first and then became separated?
And I think it's like, you know, you ever heard of this particle in the wave theory? They put where they put like an imaginary particle inside of a box, and they act and they ask you, is it a particle or is it a wave? And they said it's both simultaneously. It's just a matter of where your consciousness is or where your viewpoint is. So my answer to that question is both of those are true. It's just a matter of what point you're looking at the process in, because you can look at around and say everyone's separate here on Earth, and you see the trees and the cars. But if you go up high enough, it's going to look like one being. But it's both of those at the same time. It's just a matter of the viewpoint. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's all together and it's all one. It's just a matter of how you view it. And it's all happening simultaneously at the same time. Some things are being destroyed, some are being created, some are being operated through. And you can look at that as your body doing the same thing. Parts of your body are being generated. We know we generate new organs, new skins all the time. Part of your body is dying, literally, as the dead cells and everything fall off, and then new parts are being operated through. So the organs are doing their job, the brain's doing their job, and all of that's happening simultaneously, which creates the and depending on where you look at that viewpoint, it's all of it, all the time, no matter what, 24/7. All of those things are happening, and that's how you create infinity on multiple levels. That's how you create, because it's all cyclical. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes
All
sense.
right.
I don't know.
No. It makes sense.
That's how I see it anyway.
But you know what? I think this one right here.
Yeah.
This idea. It is from where you stand and look at it. Yeah. I do agree. It's from where you stand and look at it, and I think this idea right here has more than a million different viewpoints.
Absolutely. And everyone creates their own one based on what they've done, just like an individual cell would. And that's why, like, if you think about it as a body, we could use a body as a great analogy. That's why some people can eat fried chicken and they get one response and you get a different one, because all of the things, the thoughts, the process, the history, all of that goes into the unique chemical process that's created by your cells. And that's how infinity is created. So, that happens on Earth. My car exhaust here affects someone's body over there differently than it would here. And it's all an individual thing. This is why they say the path to God is individual. It's a unique relationship. And it's not that God respects one person over the other. It's that everyone is a literal manifestation of God and creating their own life and connection to that and experiencing as an individual soul themselves, and have the ability to create as an individual soul themselves. And that's again how there's layers to creating infinity, but
yeah, man. Yeah, it's getting kind of late in the thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
But hey, that's a good one. I think we had a good conversation. I don't think it's finished. As a matter of fact, I don't think this one is finished for me.
Oh yeah, man. I'd love to hear what you come up with over the week as you think about the 3 parts. See if what I say resonates, and we can just pick it up here and just go deeper, man. I like to go deeper.
Yeah, we got to go deeper. I'm gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to look at some space charts to figure out, maybe even read the Bible again or do something about the Big Bang, because when it seems like mixing, but I just had an idea of mixing as being the whole. Yeah. Mixing is being the whole, which is still an extreme. That's an extreme, being whole.
Sure.
And then separation is still the extreme, but this is like the good point where you can do more of your creativity, right? Because I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
And the median between there is still undefined, because this could be looked at from every single individual's viewpoint to find out what the median is.
Absolutely, bro. And I like to end it with this. Like, I think everything too, if we could try to check it back to the triune, because everything has three poles, and where it becomes really sticky or extreme, like you say, is if you only look at one of them, no matter which one of them. If you get too tunnel visioned on one, then you lose sight of the all. So it's just keeping in mind that, hey, God consciousness or higher level of consciousness is seeing it from recognizing the unity in all of it, no matter what, because it's always there. It's just a matter of, can you see it? Because no one can make you see. No one can make you see. Can you see it? Yes, sir.
That's right.
All right, big dog. Next time, bro. Great one.
Good
Rod
one.
and Ali out. A to Z. See you guys next Sunday, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. All right, bro.
All right, brother. Be good.
You too.